Welcome back to Barry Says. Thank you for watching the videos. Please subscribe and leave a comment at the end of the video if you have any thoughts or whatever. But this one's going to be kind of long, so let me jump right into it. I already made this video. I was pretty happy with how it came out, and I normally have this policy where I don't reshoot the videos, even if somebody sends me a message or I get a Facebook notification right in the middle. I just keep on going. That's the way. But when I watched it, I realized that I inadvertently, in telling this story, which I really like this story, I've told it a number of times, and it's always gotten a good conversation going, but I realized I inadvertently had sort of said a bad thing about, not necessarily a bad thing, but I had insinuated that there was some negativity at a business that I actually really like to support and I normally shop at. So I'm going to try to get through the story without mentioning the name of the business, because it really doesn't matter where it happened so much as what happened. So here goes. I walked into a store, and I grabbed my cart, and I'm starting to go along, and I'm just do my shopping, and there was a dollar bill sitting on the ground right near the entrance. So I picked it up, and I looked around. There's no one around, and I continued walking until I found the first employee. I almost said the name of the business. See, you tell a story too many times. I found an employee who worked at the business, and just an average-looking guy, normal height, normal build, late 40s maybe, I don't know. And I handed him the dollar bill and I said, I found this by the door. And he kind of laughed and tried to hand it back to me. And I said, no, I found it by the door. It's not mine. I'd like to turn it in. And he again laughed, thinking I was joking, because nobody turns in money. And he just really gave me this strange look. But I insisted, and I walked away. I had handed him the dollar. I wouldn't take it back, and I walked away. I continue about my day. I'm doing my shopping, grab everything I need, and while I'm waiting in line, the same gentleman walks up to me, and he has this strange body language about him, and I know somehow, some way he's going to talk to me about the dollar. Sure enough, he walks up and he says, You've placed me in a quandary, and I don't quite know what to do. He said, because if I keep the dollar, he says, that will go against my sense of right and wrong and morality, and he says that would really bother me. He said, but if I turn in the dollar to Lost and Found, first off, they're going to think I'm crazy, and second off, they're just going to keep it because whoever turns in a dollar and whoever goes looking for a lost dollar, it just doesn't happen. So he said, I would feel much better about it if you would just take the dollar and we can be free of it. And I reiterated now for the third time. I said, no, it's not mine. I'm not going to take the dollar. And he again said, well, I'd really appreciate if you take it. No, it's not mine. Simple, plain and simple, it's not mine. So he said, well, how about this? He said, I've given it a lot of thought. What if on Sunday, he said, I'll go to church and I'll drop it in the plate and make it as a donation. He said, and then it'll be donated, it'll be all free and clear. He says, my conscience is clear, your conscience is clear. How does that sound? And I said, well, it sounds fine to me. It's not my dollar. You can do whatever you want with it. And I just thought it was such an amazing, I don't really have anything planned to what to say about this, because typically this is where the conversation just kicks off. So maybe that's what I'll do. Leave a comment and let's get a little conversation started. And what do you think about that? Do you find that an interesting story or what? Leave me your thoughts. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. And bear in mind, I'm traveling a ton, but I do have a couple weeks coming up, so when this gets uploaded, I will hopefully actually be able to respond. Please forgive me if I have not always responded to comments as expediently or ever as possible. We are traveling a ton, so please forgive me for that, and thank you for watching. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.